What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here with your $1,400 third stimulus check update, fourth stimulus check update, and related news. Wow, it's a crazy day when your update goes to update. Yeah, update. Yeah, we're gonna jump right in. I had a tip from the last video that the guy said. Let me just show you here. Give him some credit. In the last video, I had a comment from Terry Deeds. Thank you so much for this comment. He said, I had to add my middle initial to the IRS Get My Payment tool to get the IRS payment tool to work. So that is yet another tip that your name, if you're getting status unknown, and again, this could be for the fourth stimulus package as well, the fourth stimulus check, that your name probably has to exact match what the IRS system has there. So you may need to change the IRS Get My Payment tool to have a middle initial. If you're getting status unknown, you may need to put your full middle name. It really depends on how the IRS has your name on your tax return. I'm starting to feel more and more like almost everybody that has a status unknown or payment information unavailable or anything like that, it might just be because you're entering the information that does it wrong. It doesn't match their system, and it needs to match the IRS system. Just think about it in your mind that it needs to exact match. That's a term they use in coding and stuff like that, computer coding. It needs to be exact match. Okay, so just think exact match. Your address, exact match. Uppercase, lowercase, it needs to exactly match what the IRS has on file for you if you're getting status unknown and you want to get past that. So go get a letter or an envelope or whatever the most recent communication you got from the IRS is, and look at your name and look at your address. You may need to put your address in all in caps. You may need to add a middle initial. May need to put street instead of the street abbreviation. So you may need to write out the whole address instead of maybe using abbreviations like you did in the past. And let me know if any of those changes is working for you or has worked for you over the past week. Let us know, because this will help for the fourth stimulus check package, because everybody hates the IRS Get My Payment tool. But I think now we're slowly figuring out that really it's just because people are inputting the information maybe not wrong, but just different than what the IRS system has. So the IRS system doesn't give you the information because it's not correct in their computer's eyes. All right, next, let's talk about the border crisis for a quick second. Let me know your thoughts. And here's a question, exact match question for you. Do you think that the current border crisis is because of President Biden? Is President Biden to blame? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, and I will let you know mine. Here's my current thoughts. Again, I consider myself a realist, not a Democrat, not a Republican. I like to look at things from just a down to earth point of view, and I generally don't lean far left or far right. But here's how I stand on the border crisis. I personally know that the border crisis, and it's not just personally, it's just kind of public information if you actually look it up, has been going on for decades. Okay, so this has been going on, and obviously Trump was dealing with it because he wanted to build the border wall, and he did build some of the border wall. It's hard to really know how much of the border wall is built. In President Trump's interview that was about a month ago, probably at this point, his words were, and you can take this for whatever value you think it is. President Trump, and I say President Trump, I think we've gone over this enough now. I know he's not the current president, but generally past presidents retain the title. So when I say President Trump, or I say President Obama, or I say President Bush, you generally don't say George Bush Jr. You say President Bush or President Bush Jr. They retain that title forever. So it's not that I'm disrespecting Biden or anything like that, but yeah, they retain the title of president for life. So yeah, President Trump, former President Trump, he knew that the border crisis was there. That's why he campaigned on building the wall. Okay, so it was an issue before he even became president, before Trump even became president. But I do think it has worsened now that President Biden came in. and nothing against Biden. It's just what I think, what I see in the media. And again, who knows how much this is skewed by the media, but it does seem like the situation is getting worse. And I think a lot of that is because of the perception that Biden gets, and even possibly Democrats. Generally, the Democratic congressmen and congresswomen are more immigration friendly. So I think that people that have been thinking about coming across the border illegally and been thinking about it, they're like, oh, we're going to wait for Biden if Biden gets in, or when, let's say he was president elect at the time and waiting to, waiting to take office. They're kind of like, yeah, well, Biden is more for immigration. He's not as against it as President Trump is. So I think that that is the majority of why it's getting worse at the border is because the perception, that the mindset of people coming across the border are like, hey, some people probably think that Biden wants them to come in. And we've seen these recent interviews from President Biden where he says, don't come in. You're not allowed to come in, and whatever words he uses, but he actually has had to physically go out and say that, because I think that some people think that he was just welcoming people open arms that don't come legally. And remember, we're a country of immigrants. If you go back in everybody's lineage, at some point, we were all an immigrant at some point, or our moms and dads and grandmas or something like that were. But yeah, but you got to come in legally. Legally, you got to do the paperwork and do whatever it needs to come in. I think a lot of people are discouraged about that because they can't get in for whatever background reason or whatever reason there is, or there's a wait to come in, or there's COVID, and now that has lengthened the process. So I think that then people try to come in illegally, and obviously you can't come in illegally; it's illegal. So I think that that's kind of worsened the problems here, and I think that Biden is going to have an uphill battle to get the border crisis fixed, and a lot of it's because he stopped construction on the border wall. And I seen a recent article. In fact, here it is. GOP senators, which, as you know, stands for Grand Old Party, aka Republican. Republican senators allege that President Biden broke the law with halt to the border wall construction, because part of that border wall construction money was passed through Congress through stimulus packages and bills. And you can see here the Senate Republicans accused President Biden of breaking federal budget law when he ordered a halt to construction of the southern border wall, and say that the action contributed to a surge in illegal border crossing. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell and 39 other Republicans, so almost all of them, wrote a letter to the Government Accountability Office on Wednesday seeking an investigation into the president's action, which they allege violated a 1974 act forbidding the executive branch from refusing to spend money appropriated by Congress. As you can see here, the fiscal 2021 spending bill that Congress passed in December has $1.4 billion for border wall construction and related spending. So I think that that further makes Republicans angry at Biden. Generally, Republicans hate Biden, and Democrats hate Trump for the most part. Of course, that's a simplistic overview, but generally, both sides don't really agree, and this is kind of making Republicans worse because, well, the Republican point of view, and really even a lot of middles and even some Democrats, is we spent all this money on the border wall, but now President Biden has stopped it, and President Trump says it's 90% complete. And whether you believe that or not, and there's some evidence for it and against it, who really knows how complete it is? But I think the problem is that we spent billions of dollars at this point building the border wall, whether you were for it or against it. But now American taxpayers have spent billions of dollars. It's supposedly 90% complete, whether that really means it's 80% or 90 or somewhere around there. And we've spent all this money, and now we just have holes in the wall that Biden's refusing to let be finished because now he's in office. And I think a lot of people are mad about that. Even Democrats, I'm seeing, just from what I hear around town, you can let me know your thoughts. But I'm seeing even Democrats that are kind of against this one because they're thinking, hey, we built the border wall. We already spent the money. In fact, there was thousands of jobs created to do this. And Biden halted it immediately. And now there's holes in the wall so people can come over illegally, which they're not supposed to do anyways. So why not finish the wall? The money's already been appropriated in the past, and now it's paused. So let me know your thoughts on the border wall crisis. I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. One of the provisions that could or likely could be included in the next stimulus package, the infrastructure slash stimulus package, is the expansion of Medicare. Now, there's several different things on the table. One is Medicare for all, and Medicare for all is, in simplicity form, Medicare for all with restrictions. Okay. Um, I think that's probably the hardest one to get approved, even within the own Democratic Party, because, well, Medicare for all costs the most amount of money. And we'll see the Joe Mansions of the world. Isn't it funny how Joe Manchin is becoming his own, like, his own adjective to describe things? Yeah, the Joe Mansions of the world. Uh, will not want to vote for anything that's too extreme. Heaven forbid that all the Democrats vote together or all the Republicans. All the Republicans seem to vote together. They got their stuff in order. The Democrats, there's always a Joe Manchin or a Kristen Sinema that are like a thorn in their side, and they always got to like negotiate with him. I personally think that he's a little bit of like a showboater or a grandstander. Where I seen somebody in the comments said that he didn't get enough attention, and I feel like he is kind of an attention wanter. I almost said a bad word there, but I will for YouTube purposes, I won't say a bad word there. But I almost feel like he does some of this for attention because it's like he wants to change details that are so like not irrelevant, but it's just like, for example, the his newest one, and this is just happened to be the newest one, is he says that he's not for the corporate tax rate to 28%, but he's going to do 25%. Now, who's kidding who? We know that he didn't go do some mathematical analysis that came up with 25% is the perfect number. And he's just picking this number out of thin air and making a problem out of it. Because the reality is, 25 and 28, he's just picking a number. He's not like, there's no mathematical science behind Joe Manchin being okay with 25%. And he even said, that he thinks it should have never been below 25%. But 28% is way too high. I mean, come on, they're right there. I think the bigger problem is that we need to tax companies that make over $1 billion that pay nothing. We have like 100 out of the top 500 S&P 500 companies paying $0 in tax, and in fact, a lot of them are getting refunds or rebates, tax incentives. $3.5 billion just last year alone for companies that didn't pay any federal tax, but yet we paid them $3.5 billion. So, yeah, raising the tax rate from 25 to 21% to 25% really isn't going to change much. I mean, President Trump lowered it from 35% down to 21%. So really, corporations are way ahead from where they were before President Trump. But I think they really need to figure out the minimum tax that they're proposing for, and they'll have likely an income attachment to it. So companies that make over $1 billion, not a million, a billion with a B, will likely have to pay at least a minimum tax so that they can't get away with making billions and billions and billions of dollars and paying no taxes. And again, the reason is somebody's got to pay taxes. It either comes from you and me and people, or it comes from corporations that make billions. Okay, so there's a lot more corporations out there making billions and then making their founders billions than average old regular everyday people. That everybody's got to pay their fair share. If you're making billions, you should be paying at least more than 0%. But one of the proposals on the table for the fourth stimulus check package is expansion of Medicare, with additional Medicare benefits included in Medicare for no additional cost, including dental coverage, hearing coverage, and hearing aid, paying for hearing aids. Here is Representative Jayapal on possible Medicare expansion.
I wanted to take a quick moment to talk about Medicare for All. A lot of the time, when we talk about this landmark legislation, we focus on the fact that it guarantees healthcare for everyone without copays, deductibles, or private insurance premiums. But today, I wanted to briefly tell you what would be covered. Our broken for-profit healthcare system currently leaves millions of people without coverage for vision, dental, mental health, and reproductive health. And if you're lucky enough to have those essential elements included, it's easy for insurance companies to charge you a huge amount for those services or to put up red tape and mark doctors as out of network, so you still end up footing the bill. And that is a huge and expensive problem. The average dental cleaning is $200 out of pocket. Mental health visits can be hundreds of dollars for each appointment. And even with insurance, it can still cost a new mom $4,500 to give birth to a healthy child. Medicare for All will ensure that these essential aspects of healthcare are fully covered and with no hidden fees. It's time to guarantee comprehensive healthcare as a human right in this country. And Medicare for All will make that happen for everyone in America.
This is something that could be included in the fourth round of stimulus, as Bernie Sanders and several Democrats are pushing for this. And again, everything will likely be negotiated before all is said and done. But vision care is the other thing I forgot to say that they're pushing, including hearing, dental, and vision care would be included in Medicare coverage. If they don't get Medicare for all, the other proposal is to lower the Medicare age down to 55 or 60 and include these additional benefits: vision, health, hearing, vision, and dental. So we'll have to see what happens. I know the health insurance costs are insane if you have to pay for them yourself and you don't get the healthcare.gov subsidies, which have just been increased in the third stimulus check package. They just said 7 million people can qualify based on their income for additional free healthcare through healthcare.gov. You should go on healthcare.gov and test and see how much they'll charge you if you don't have it. I know our health insurance is insane. Because we're self-employed, we have our Amazon business and YouTube, and I've been a full-time entrepreneur for 20 years. I used to have a limo and bus company that I started with just one limo, and I grew that to a whole fleet of 15. I employed hundreds of people throughout the 10 years that we ran that, and we sold that company in 2012 at 15,000 customers. Was around the mark when we sold it. We pay right now for our family insurance for me, my wife Laurel, and our son Julian. We pay $1,000 a month in just monthly premiums, and we each have a $5,000 deductible before they pay anything, with a $10,000 max family deductible. So when my wife had our son, she paid $5,000 for the deductible, and we paid $5,000 deductible for him. So we paid $10,000 out of pocket just for the birth, okay? And our $1,000 a month, $12,000 a month. And that's how much it is if you have to go and get your own insurance and you don't qualify for subsidies and you don't have a company paying for it. We pay $12,000 a year before anything, and then up to $5,000 each for deductibles. So yeah, it's not cheap. And when my wife gave birth, she had preeclampsia and her blood pressure was like 200 over 140. And I remember being in the room with her when baby Julian was coming out, and they induced her because her blood pressure was getting bad over the last few weeks. She has high blood pressure, so do I, but it's not like that bad. But it got bad for the end of her pregnancy, and Julian stopped growing in her little tummy, so they had to induce her like 2 weeks early. So I mean, he was full term, but he was 2 weeks early. And right near the end, and by the way, her what is that thing called where they give you the numbing solution? Epidural. I had to think there for a second because she's putting Julie into bed. But yeah, epidural. Her epidural wore off 3 times. And when she gave birth, it was wore off. So yeah, she had real good luck there. And also, when she actually gave birth, her blood pressure went to something like 200 over 140 or 150. And they actually sent in a medical like crash team for better lack of the word, and they sent in like 10 people in what I want to call like full hazmat suits without the hat, without the head, and they were literally prepared for her to die. Okay, so they basically sent in a crash team, and I don't remember what the team was called, but that team alone on the medical bill was $10,000, and her total bill for the birth was $40,000. Now we had to only pay 10, $5,000 deductible for each of them, but yeah, that total bill for that couple days in the hospital was $40,000. Yeah. So it's safe to say that medical costs are insane, and so is the cost of college. But that's a different story. But I think that we're gonna hopefully see some reform on medical costs and healthcare and prescription drug costs and all that stuff in the future. Let me know your thoughts on that. But I feel like the cost of insurance for medical insurance is just getting out of hand. You can let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I'll keep you up to date on everything on the fourth stimulus check, Medicare, the fourth stimulus check itself, and all the other provisions on the horizon. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on new updates. It's completely free to do so. After subscribing, click the bell icon to all notifications to get reminder notifications when we go live for the first 3 videos of the day, which are at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. every day. Don't miss any videos so you don't miss out on different provisions of the stimulus packages that we cover. And then we also have an 11 p.m. video every night, but you have to remember to show up there. You won't get a notification for that. All those times are Eastern Standard Time. You can click this top video here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this video teaches you how to start your own business selling products on Amazon FBA. I've had dozens of students that have replaced their 9-to-5 income selling products on Amazon, and that's what me and my wife do as one of our businesses. We sell products on Amazon, and then we also have a business teaching people how to sell products on Amazon. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.